back to another episode of the A Miracle Marketing Podcast, where we bring you interviews from business owners, celebrity guests, and hot topics. I am your host, Brandon Adams. My co-host, super producer, Big Perry, was not able to join us today, but we're still going to have a great show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you would like to be a guest on the show, send us an email to amiraclespodcast@gmail.com. On today's show, we have a very special guest, and I want to make sure I pronounce her last name correctly. Is Nika Sedghi?
Perfect. You nailed it. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being on the show. We're going to learn a lot about this young lady. She's very talented. She's very fit. And one thing I really like about her, she does one of my favorite hobbies. She is a skater, and she's really good at skating. So we're going to get into that as well. Nika, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Long day of engineering, hit the gym, and now we're here. So no complaints with the San Diego weather.
I know that. So a little bit about Nika. Nika is a full-time mechanical engineer living in San Diego. She is a bodybuilder. You may recognize her. She was on a show with The Rock, and she is a bodybuilder and a Division I athlete out of San Diego State. She played water polo, bodybuilding. So Nika, with all these different talents, share with our viewers, how did you get started?
How did we get started? Well, in high school, I'd started with Taekwondo. I'd got my black belt, and my parents were like, you got to make friends, so you need a team sport. So we started with water polo and fell in love with it and trained so hard. Had an opportunity to play for San Diego State. Loved it. It was life for 5 years, got my engineering degree. And then after engineering and not having a sport, I was like, what do you do with your time? What do normal people do when you're not training, reviewing film, and working on your body somehow for rehab? The answer was bodybuilding. I was like, I can get in the gym, I can train for a show, I can be disciplined with the nutrition, the training, and it felt really, really good. So we got into bodybuilding, did some shows there, had some great sponsorship opportunities, just really loved the structure. Coming out of a D1 sport, you're used to having a plan, something you're really training for, driving for, some championship. And it was just an easy transition. So got into bodybuilding. We had some recognition. We applied for some TV shows. The first one was the CMT's Broken Skull Challenge with Steve Austin. The second one was with Dwyane "The Rock" Johnson for the NBC Titan Games. So had some fun on both television shows, training on that for that. So it was still just very eat, sleep, train, repeat, because I knew I had an opportunity to display said talents, and had a whole lot of fun and still engineered my whole way through it. So, and then roller skating came in a little bit afterwards. So I was like, what's a new fun hobby I can do after bodybuilding? I didn't want to diet down for many more shows. It was a beautiful sport, just didn't want to continue it because I saw kind of what it would take to become a professional, and I just didn't want to I don't want to say associate with, there's certain things you might have to do to your body to be competitive at that level, and I just didn't want to put my body through that. Without saying what some of those things are, I hope everyone kind of caught what I was saying there. But besides that, roller skating was just like this beautiful hobby that came and allowed me to express myself in such a like soft and feminine way, which I wasn't like used to doing prior to. Bodybuilding has been very strong, water polo too, you're like wrestling with a girl in the water and trying to put a ball at the back of the net. So when I found roller skating, I was like, wow, music, flowing, body, we can dip, there's a slow set, we can backpack, this is beautiful, we can ballroom skate. So I fell in love with it. I love music, love dancing. Can't say I'm good at dancing, but roller skating gave me the illusion that I could one day maybe be good at dancing.
Okay, so we're going to circle back to the roller skating a little bit later, but
Sure.
I wanted to talk to you about, because looking over your bio, very interesting. Okay, so in 2016, you were at 180 pounds and you dropped all the way down to 141 pounds. So how did this body transformation come about?
I was a part of a bodybuilding team called Titan Fitness and Nutrition, and Coach Chris, incredible coach, basically took me on as a client. And it's a process where you are basically eating the exact meals they are telling you with the cardio and training regimen to a T for anywhere from 16 to 20 weeks. Again, doing this naturally, you want to take it really slow. You don't want to rush things. Almost, I think it's a once a week check-in at the beginning, but then towards the end, it's a weekly and then daily check-in where your coach is getting a photo of you posed up front, side, back, and evaluating, hey, are we adjusting the carbohydrates? Are we keeping the fats the same? Are we adding more cardio? What kind of cardio? So it was really his guidance. We did, I believe, 4 shows together. By the end, I was flexible dieting, which means instead of him writing out what all my meals were and me just following meals 1 through 6, it was him giving me my macros. He trusted that I had the database and the ability to make sure I construct the meals appropriately, right? Prioritizing the right things. And I had a little more fun with it because I got to enjoy foods that I wanted, not necessarily that a coach had just put on a plan. So really, really fun getting to push your body to those limits, I should say.
Okay. So being in San Diego, the Olympics, just coming off the Olympics, and the Olympics going to be in Los Angeles in 2028. Do you think you might compete in that?
Ooh, the Olympics? I
Yeah.
mean, but I better start training for something fast.
Yes, the Olympics. I
It
have
would be
I have faith in you.
fun. It would be so fun. And it's funny you say that because there was a year that I started cycling because my car broke down and I was like, let me just cycle everywhere. And I was like, I feel like I've got power athlete tendencies. Cycling would be so fun. So I actually reached out to the USA Cycling coach. There was an article USA Cycling had done on me back in the day, and I flirted with the idea of maybe training for something like that. But I don't know. The other thing that's really fun is rugby did so well this year. I was like, my soul says rugby, my brain just says you don't want to get hurt. Um, I love the idea of competing and training for things, but I've done it almost the majority of my life, and I feel like I'm doing all the fun things that people did in their 20s, like now in my 30s, because I was eat, sleep, train, repeat for so many years. I don't regret it. I would do it all over the same way, but there's a part of me that doesn't know if I want to commit to training for something at that high level again, because I'm loving just enjoying life, working, training just for fun, like looking just to look good, myself, not I have a show, I have this, because I know I go all in. It's all or nothing, and the training would be 100%, the diet would be 100%, and that doesn't allow you to necessarily have as much like social fun, dating fun, as what those high elite athletes are. So I'm torn. I'm like, there's a part of me that would really love to, if any coach watches this and is like, we want her energy, reach out and I might consider her. But as of right now, I'm enjoying just lifing.
Okay. So it seems like that's something that I believe you can do in my just everything that we talked about, looking over your resume, because you're so versatile as far as martial arts, water polo, bodybuilding. There are so many different things. So even if you were to get into the Olympics, there's different categories that you personally can get into. Doesn't have to be just one.
I appreciate that. Like I said, if there's a coach that's interested, I need someone to believe in me, and then maybe we can talk. Maybe we can talk about something. But there's nothing that like sparks my soul right now that I could think of that I could start training right now and make it to the Olympic level. But I'm flattered that you think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about being on reality TV. Let's start
Mm.
with the one with Steve Austin. How did that go and how did that come about?
I had a friend that sent me a link and they're like, you should try out for this. And I was like, what is this? Just casually signed up, filled out the application, and I got selected, which was awesome. I think I made it to semifinals on that one. The
Mhm.
first challenge was like jumping in a pit of water, wrestling a girl, and whoever hit the bell first won. I won that one. The second one was like carrying some very big, heavy, almost like it was hex bars on top of like a cargo bin or cargo, like those rectangular cargo bin isn't the word, but had to pick those up, start walking. They started swinging. That was super challenging, but again, very fun to have that opportunity to just kind of compete. What I'll tell you about television is it's very much so about getting the shot and creating an episode that's like worthy of watching, and less like just a Olympic event where it's like you're getting warmed up, you're stretching, you're really preparing the athlete to like be at their best, right? It's very much so like hair, makeup, are all the logos covered? Did we get the B-roll? All right, you're up in 5. And you're like, whoa, should I stretch? Should I? So that was one thing I learned like really quickly, because um you have this idea of being an athlete your whole life that like there's going to be time to warm up, there's going to be time to stretch, you'll be filming at optimal times. For example, on the second TV show, we were filming through the night, so you'd arrive on set at like 4 or 5, it would be dark, you're again running back and forth between outfits to have all the B-roll filmed in case you move on. And then within minutes they're like, you're up, and you're like, what? So the athlete in me struggled with that, but I understand why they had to do it. Another thing is, let's say you go up there and you smoke the person you're competing against. Nobody really wants to watch a TV show where someone just like blows someone out of the water. That's not like, you're not like excited for the commercial break to be over.
Right.
So I will not confirm or deny if that might have happened on some of the shows where they might make it seem like someone's more so on your tail than they really were in real life. So reality TV, I should say, or just like any sort of athletic performance, not all, but at least the 2 experiences I had a little bit to that, which again, the athlete in me is like, hold up, hold up. We might have performed differently, but again, nevertheless, so fun. What an opportunity to be next to some incredible athletes, and more so just like hopefully inspire other little athletes, little females to do similar. That was at least Dwayne the Rock Johnson's goal. He was like, I just really want to promote that like ordinary people can do really cool things. And I was like, that's me. I sit in a chair 40 hours a week doing engineering, and I do train, but it's not what I do 8 hours a day, and you can still push yourself athletically. More so just again being a female engineer that made it up there. Like I can't think of any female engineers that I used to see on TV or even on shows or movies to be like, wow, I'd love to be an engineer one day. So I can't tell you how sweet it was to have so many little girls like take a picture by their TV, DMing me, being like, we're so excited. One family even named their daughter after me. I was like, I still get her updates. The
That's
cutest, like I flattered is an understatement, but again, a beautiful opportunity because it got that exposure out there for female engineers and just regular people that work 9 to 5s that also want to have a fun hobby.
What was it like meeting Dwayne Johnson?
What was it like? The man is everything we all thought he was going to be. Very attractive, very humble, just a class act. The funny little fun fact is that he definitely curses a lot, and we had to redo so many takes because NBC was like, "This is a family show. We can't do that. Rerun that back."
Mm-hmm.
So, just really sweet. Like, I I would say I really appreciated when I got eliminated. He came up to me and he said, "Thank you so much for taking time out of your career to film my show." And I was like, taking time out of my, you are like, I really appreciate that. Yeah, I am taking my work meetings through my day and still like on the Stairmaster again, trying to trying to coordinate with customers and still get my engineering job done so I can film here in the afternoon for the couple weeks that we were up in LA. But just a humble class act. Like everything he puts out, like that's truly what he is. I know some people are like, oh, celebrities, they're not what they put out to be. And I was like, no, he is that guy. He works hard. He's training in between, takes. I remember for that show, he had to change outfits like 30,000 times because they're filming different nights all on one night.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of backside to it that you're just like, this man works hard, and man, I respect him.
It's funny because it's such a 6 degrees of separation. I do public relations and marketing. So one of my clients, I don't know if you ever watched the show Ballers.
I feel like I have, but I don't think I could quote or tell you too much about it. That sounds familiar though.
So Ballers was a show with Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Okay.
And my client, Stacey Rose, she played his doctor on the show.
Okay.
Yeah, so everything that you say, about him being humble and everything always was the thing that she said. And then fast forward, we had Chuck Maldonado on the show, who is a choreographer, and he actually taught Rock the choreography for being on some of his shows. So
Oh, there
just
you go. So
just a 6 degree separation of, my client had Chuck on the show, and now we have you on the show, and all of you have all worked with The Rock. So that's just interesting to me.
I'm glad we all thought the same too.
You guys all had positive things to say about him. So that's great. All right. So let's talk about you're also an author.
I have written a book. It was a nutrition book. Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so when I was in college, actually, I was ended up in the hospital and found out I had a heart condition. And in that moment, I realized that I'm only in control of the variables that I'm like putting inside of my body. This was at the time I didn't know it was SVT. My doctor looked at me and said, "You're not training. You're not doing anything till we figure out what this is." And like as an athlete, as a D1 athlete, I'm like my whole world like I'm what do I do? I don't train. I don't. So I dove really, really deep in nutrition and again, really prioritizing what variables I have control over and educated myself and then really wanted to, with my bodybuilding kind of career, educate people about nutrition. I think there's so many things going against them. Like I hate that the entire food industry has foods that are hyper palatable and make it so hard for people to be healthy. Kids, starting at the kids, I mean, there's like Gerber foods that are having so much added sugar, high fructose corn syrup. Like, why are you introducing this to the kids' palate early on? So I personally don't like being told what to do. I don't think anyone does. And my little way of going about it was doing little Neeks approved reviews. So for about 2, 3 years, I was doing nutrition reviews on my story where I'd put up a food item. I'd say, is this Neeks approved? Yes or no. Show the nutrition label. And the macros, those are numbers that like really no one has any idea. They're arbitrary. They're like, what is this many grams of sugar? So I would always say, okay, this croissant is the equivalent of, let's say, 2 egg whites, 3 slices of bread, and 3 tablespoons of butter. If that sounds like a good start to your day, proceed. Not here to tell you otherwise. If that seems like not so balanced, let's try something like this, or like here are some other options. And people loved it because I was just kind of like bringing awareness that they didn't know to their regular daily foods that they're deciding. And from that, you just get the same questions over and over again. And I was like, I'm going to sit down and just write a book. I'm going to put all my knowledge in this book. And hopefully that would help people kind of create something that is attainable for them. And the big thing was, yes, I was bodybuilding and being very strict to look a certain way. I don't expect other people to do that. I want the mom to still be able to, mom or dad, I should say, enjoy an ice cream with their kid, have a birthday event that they don't have to like look and say, mommy can't have that or daddy can't have that because they're on a diet. Like I hate that phrasing and what this world has come to where they're like, can't have carbs. I'm like, I don't want a little girl to hear like carbs are bad. Like there's nothing wrong with a complex carbohydrate or timing some even less complex carbohydrates before a workout, train a little bit harder and utilize those carbs. So that was the big push for that. I was like, there's education I think that could be given better. I created an app afterwards because as I was basically using my fitness pal to log everything, I realized how many wrong entries there were in that because it's a database that the users create. And I was like, you could have the right calorie target. You could be inputting in all your meals, theoretically, like every single meal, and still not achieving your goals because you've selected the wrong chicken. It was either cooked or uncooked or with skin or without skin, like little things that if you're not in it, understanding, having an idea of what these calorie ranges should be, you're just mindlessly clicking. You could be for a female when you don't have as much of a caloric budget because generally speaking, women are smaller with less muscle mass, that 500 calorie deficit that they thought they were in, they're no longer in. So I created an app. I was like, let me change it up. No one knows what 4 ounces or 28 grams of nuts looks like. But for fruit, if I say go eat that square pack of blueberries, everyone knows what that is. If I tell them to have half a medium-sized carrot, like it's not going to matter if it's like a little extra big or whatnot. The idea is let's pick foods that are going to make staying full and nourish your body a lot easier. And then the rest will take care of itself in terms of your satiety cues. Like I always joke, I'm like, you never question as an adult, like if you have to pee or not, right? Like you know when you go. You're
Mhm.
not like, no, I'm not hungry, or maybe I'm just thirsty. I'm like, we have the skill set and the ability. Our body has the ability to tell you when you're full, but we're just putting in items that are making it really challenging when they don't keep you full long enough. There's no whole foods. Again, these hyper palatable things like Pop Tarts are just costing a lot of calories, but not giving you those satiety um, points, I'll say, that make it easier. So that was the inspiration behind the book. I was diagnosed with SVT when I was in college. It's not scary, but happy I now know I have it and how to turn it off when I have little episodes. And the book just came from so many people asking, "Hey, what should I do?"
So where can people find the book, and how can they get it, and how much does it cost?
Sure. So everything can be found at www.neeks93.com. There's an ebook tab at the top, and it'll take you to PayHip, so you can get all my digital content. I have some like cheat sheets and whatnot, but I believe it is $24.99 still. We did incredible when it came out. I was so thrilled. Just the feedback, like everyone was like, you just explained it so simply, and I was like, that's the goal. I'm not, there's so much content out there that I would say overcomplicates nutrition.
Mhm.
I tried to simplify it, as I did when I was doing those nutrition reviews.
Okay. All
Yep.
right. So let's get to skating.
Let's go.
Let's go. Okay, we got to meet up and do some skating.
That's the plan. I'd love that. What
Okay.
question do you have?
So you kind of went into it about how skating came about.
Yep.
I love to skate, trying to get better. Um, it's a whole people that don't know about skating, it's a whole world out there. And a few, and one thing about skaters, that the community kind of starts getting a little smaller because you start knowing about the different skaters. And when we were just talking on the phone one day, we were talking about someone that we knew, together, which is Blurred. And,
Yes.
that's my boy. And Blurred is excellent. So I
Incredible
was
skater.
watching some of your videos and your moves and your balance and your transitions, and all of that is great. So how long did it take you to get the transitions down, the movements, the dips, all those things? Was it self-taught, or did you work with someone?
So at the very beginning, I think I took one or two lessons. Shout out to Melissa. She was a coach here at a local rink called Ringers, and she invited me to skate with like a group of skaters that were right at the park, right where I used to live about a couple months ago. And I was so intimidated. I was like, skate with other people. I could barely walk around. And I started every Sunday just kind of going to that group, learning some calls, some downtowns. Rest in peace, Jerry Beck. He was the leader of that Flashpoint group. And then I slowly just kind of integrated in the community. I was like, okay, now we have indoor skating happening. Went to LA a bunch, skated at Skate Express, ended up doing day trips to Vegas to skate at Skate Rock City.
Shout
Just
out to
had,
Skate Rock City.
yeah, exactly. We had some Fountain Valley. Shout out to Uncle Rick. Just a lot of skaters that kind of, I'd say, took me under their wing and was like, "Hey, let's learn this. Let's figure this out." I would say I've been skating for like almost 2.5 years now. But that first year and a half, we went all in. So it was pretty close to 4 to 5 days a week consistently skating, whether that was indoors, outdoors. And I'll say what made it easier really was the strength training background that I had. So I think for a lot of the stability on skates, you have to build the leg muscles to be able to hold and be smooth and transition. Luckily, I had that, so I just had to like turn/train my muscles to flow with it a little bit better, or learn how to skate on beat. That was my saving grace. It was having a good strength base foundation, and then I would still just say putting in so many hours of work and having some incredible skaters, again, take me under their wing and say, hey, this is how we're doing it. This is how we're not doing it. Run it back over and over and over again till it started to look a little bit better. But man, at the beginning, it looked rough. The dips, I look back at those dip videos and I was like, it looked rough, kid, but we all started somewhere. And
Mm-hmm.
still much progress to make. So much progress to make. Like, gosh, I look up to so many incredible skaters and I'm like, how do you make that look so smooth? And again, they've been skating for significantly more years, so I guess I just have to be more patient.
Have you ever met Morgan Wesky?
Of course, incredible.
Okay. Um, have you learned or picked up anything with her?
So I haven't actually done any of her classes, which I want to, but I've skated near her, I should say, or around her, watched her skate at Fountain Valley. She's been at some events, and I don't know if she was there when I was at Venice, but I know she skates a ton at Venice. She's incredible.
So how do you like skating on the beach compared to indoor roller rink skating? And do you find that you have to have a different type of wheel to do outdoor skating compared to indoor skating?
I do. So I prefer wood for sure. Um, Not gonna be mad about skating outdoors as long as it's not too sandy, right? As long as the bearings aren't gonna be destroyed. But I actually find that I really like the hardest wheel everywhere. I weigh 185 pounds, and if I wear something that's really softer than 100,
Mhm.
I just feel like it's too squishy. It feels like flat tires. I don't feel like they're as responsive. So my outdoor setup, I have 103s, Rollerbone Elite, and then indoors, what do I have right now? Let's think about this. I've played around with so many wheel sets. I feel like there was a pivotal point where I really loved the harmonies.
Okay.
But I started actually leading ballroom when the gentleman I started skating ballroom with got deployed, and I still loved ballroom so much. And I was like, well, I could just learn to lead, and then maybe there'll be some other girls that would want to skate with me. This could work while he's gone. And I learned to lead. And when I started to lead, I was like, oh, now that I'm responsible for someone else's weight, I do need a little bit more grip back. So I think at that point I had switched from the harmonies to like the Vanathane wheels, the original ones. Shout out to Skate Fanatics for getting those set up. I might be on, I think I'm on 103s still. Oh no, I'm on the Dreams. I'm on the All American Dreams right now. I got again an original setup. Again, shout out to Skate Fanatics with the aluminum hub. So super hard, and they cleaned them up. I'm very, very happy. That's my indoor setup right now. I was like, it's been a minute. I haven't pulled those out in a while.
Yeah, I tried skating on the beach and
Hmm.
almost kill myself.
Oh, we have two setups. We have our OGs for our outdoor setup, and again, we've got the 101s and some dirtier bearings. But indoors, we have our 336s with the All American Dreams, the aluminum hub. It's
Yeah,
fun.
because it was just totally different going from skating in a rink to like trying to skate outdoors because the on the beach, just on the concrete, you have the little lines and your wheels just don't catch. And I was like thinking, oh, this should be easy. I could skate indoors, it's not a problem. Went out there
Sure.
and I was like, oh no, oh no.
Yeah.
So I was like, I gotta try and get some kind of different outdoor wheels. So that'll be
Yeah.
something that
It
I'll
takes
do.
a little bit of time, but I feel like once you get more confident, the harder wheel still is so fun outside.
Mhm.
So
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
So tell us what's up for next for meets.
For meats,
Neats.
I
Nika
was, I was like, meats, what meats? Ooh, what's next? Athletically or just in life?
in general.
In general, hopefully finding my forever. I would love to settle down and start a family and prioritize dating and getting out there. And that's kind of what I meant at the beginning, where I was like, I don't know if I want to train and compete anymore. It's possible maybe I'll find someone who enjoys training, and we could train for something together. So I'm not throwing
The
it completely out.
Olympics.
Maybe maybe my man's out there training for the Olympics and he just needs a training partner. Who knows? But yeah, that's kind of my goal. I've spent a lot of my life training, and I'm still training, but just not to that intensity, if that makes sense. I'm really enjoying just getting to relax on some weekends, go out, play at the beach, enjoy going out with friends in the evening, you know, just things that you don't get to do when you're needing to make sure you're in bed and training and recovering at a certain level.
Okay, so I have a question for you. We're gonna get since you went there with relationships.
Sure.
You're a martial artist
Yeah.
who is a black belt.
Yep.
You are also a bodybuilder. So the man that wants to date you
Sure.
does, because it seems like you'll be the one protecting him instead of him protecting you.
No, let's not say that. Let's not say that. Let's not. No. No, no, no. It's so sweet. The friends that know relationship, Nika, when I'm around a man that I love, I literally just turn into like this soft, feminine, like protect me kind of girl. I don't want to be the strong one. I don't want to be the independent one. I just am that girl because I've had to be that girl. So to the men that make me feel safe, secure, loved, I look forward to, you know, holding onto your arm, hiding behind you. You kill the spider for me. I don't want to. I don't want to be tough anymore. There's perks to being a strong, independent woman. Don't get me wrong, but there's nothing better than letting a man lead, in my opinion.
Okay. I'm gonna touch base on the martial arts question.
Sure.
Because I just had a young lady on the show who's also in the martial arts, and she said her particular martial arts, she doesn't do belts.
Mm,
She does, I think she said it was Thai and Shaolin, and she said they don't do the whole belt thing. Do you know about that?
I don't. No, I've never heard that.
Hmm, okay,
Yeah.
I was just wondering.
Yeah, no, I've not heard of that.
Okay,
We did Taekwondo and we went all the way through the belt.
okay, all right. I was just wondering, from two martial artists.
Yep.
So, outside of relationships, what else is coming up for Nika?
Hopefully just getting better at skating. Hopefully continuing to stay in decent shape while having fun. Kind of finding out what that balance is, right? When you're not being 100% strict, you let yourself have a little more fun with your diet here and there and see what you can still sustain. Um, what else besides that? Besides working out, enjoying life, continuing to progress with my career, engineering, again, dating around and have find our forever. That's really all we got.
Another book coming?
You know, I don't think I'm gonna be doing another book. I know a lot of people like they try to give content like slow drip so you can keep making another sale. That's really never been my thing. I'm like, I make my money engineering. I'm not trying to like make money in that essence from slow drip sales. The next person would probably say, well, then why are you selling your ebook? Why aren't you giving out for free? Because free information is overlooked. I did it for so long. I used to give out so many things and people just don't respect it, right? If you have something for $100 versus something that's $1, you're going to take a little more care and take it a little more seriously when it's $100. So tried to make it affordable. It's 25 bucks. It's an entire ebook. I've got so many little cheat sheets that just try to simplify these nutrition topics. Made a nutrition course that's online on my class too. So I don't plan to do another ebook. I think the ebooks, I don't know how many people like to sit down and read books with so much content that now is like video content, and they've just really stepped up their game since I released that book, I should say. It's more flashy, but the contents is still as it stands. There's no new and improved. It's simple. You have to eat clean, be consistent, and that's really the people that succeed just hold on longer. That sounds weird, but the analogy I always say is if someone's better in life at you than something, they've just failed at it more times. So if it's nutrition and you see someone doing well with their physique, they failed at it more times. I can't tell you how many times with the injuries that I gained all my weight back, and it wasn't because I was just eating horribly. It was I didn't know that, you know, when my activity levels dropped that low, how much I had to adjust for my intake, you know, little things like that that again, or you lose it a couple times and you're like, oh, I know what it takes to get back. I'm not putting myself through that. I'm going to keep things tighter this time around. So I've had quite a few injuries. I've definitely lost my physique multiple times, but again, the important thing is getting right back on that train and just holding on longer. So people think they have to be perfect for like 60 days, 100 days, and that's how you do it. And it's like, no, that 90-10 is it. But everyone only posts the 90%. Nobody posts the 10%. Everyone thinks, oh, Nika has never had anything with added sugar or whatever. I remember when I was posting the nutrition reviews, so much so that I would go out on dates and then be like, is this Nick's approved? As we're like about to get ice cream or something. And I'm like, no, I don't care if it's Nick's approved. Like, I'm enjoying this date right now. I'm not training right now for anything. This is like, thank you for being mindful of the fact that this isn't something I would enjoy on a regular basis to attain, a bodybuilding physique, but it's really just what you do most of the time. And I always say, just don't eat like an asshole that 10% of the time and you'll be absolutely fine.
Okay. Would you ever do any or consider doing any training other people?
I have trained clients before, but I don't think I would do it again. And the reason for that is I don't have too much time, right? After work, I get my training session in and I just don't need it financially. I make a good amount of money as an engineer. I pay my bills comfortably. And if there was someone who ever like wanted to learn how to train and they're like, hey, can I, get a couple packages here and there just to learn how to use some equipment? Absolutely, all day. But do I want to take on a client load where after my day of work and after my training, I'd sit and train for a couple hours, of clients consistently? No.
Okay. What about
Yeah.
coming out with a skate video?
A skate video in terms of training
I
and
mean,
skate.
or just people watching, learning moves.
Ooh, if I ever got good enough, yes, it would be incredible to have that content available. Because I mean, as you're coming up, there's so many I would say videos that show the move broken down, but I think, or at least what I haven't seen, and when I try to teach people that are, around me asking how I do something, really kind of explaining like where the weight is in between the 2 feet, right? Because you're stepping, but when you're watching the video, you're not able to see where the weight is when they do said transition or roll up on their toes, their heels, whatever that may be. So that would be fun.
Yeah. Um, you never know how much your weight balance is off with skating because you always have a dominant leg, and transitioning, you can usually, for people that start skating, you can transition one way a lot easier than the other way. So you got to work on getting that
Both.
other way because it's the leg balance.
Exactly.
Mhm.
That's the most challenging part, especially with like spins. Like I can spin left all day, but to the right,
Mhm. Yep.
not.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Nika, thank you for taking the time to be on the show today. I really
Thank,
appreciated you. You're welcome back anytime.
thank
And if you're going to be in the Vegas area, hit your boy up so we can do some skating. And
you.
next time I am in San Diego, you got to show me the skating spots
You
because
got it.
I went to where did I go? Skate World when I was out there, and
Yep.
their rink is a lot different and
Wait.
small. It's kind of tiny.
Yeah, and I mean that's why we drive 2 hours usually up north to Chino and Fountain Valley comfortably to go enjoy just other rinks. We've
Okay.
definitely done time at Skate World and love Ringers. Ringers is outdoors, really nice concrete, amazing DJ, good vibes, super encouraging learning environment, I'll say. So if anyone's in San Diego, Ringers, that's the spot. I started there at the beginning and went consistently every Tuesday and Thursday and learned so much at the beginning of my skate journey.
Okay, Ringers. I'll have to check that out next time I'm out in San Diego.
Definitely.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to be on the show. Really appreciate it. And, we'll get this promoted and, thanks.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Talk to you later.